Welcome to the Reconnect Factor, the podcast of the Power Play Reconnect experience. I'm your host, Ruth Haskins. Quote, "You have been assigned this mountain to show others it can be moved." Mel Robbins. A few months ago, I shared with you one of my favorite songs from The Sound of Music, Climb Every Mountain. If you are not familiar with it, look it up. If you are in the process of climbing or trying to move an insurmountable mountain in your life, it will encourage you. You know, at this moment, everywhere on our planet, almost everyone needs encouragement. We are all bombarded with news as well as personal experiences that are sapping our physical, emotional, and spiritual energy. But the question is, how do we survive these times we are living in? And do it not with our heads down and dragging ourselves through every 24 hours. Really, the answer in some ways is easier than we think it is, because it is our thinking that drags us down. Have you ever considered the amazing reality of human resilience? I know we heard a lot about it during the pandemic. But in this quote-unquote new normal, resilience is lagging. And we know that by the increase in violence that we're seeing, and even for so many people, the increase in suicide. As a people, as humans, we are experiencing war, natural disasters, as well as our own personal tragedies. And everyone goes through it differently. Some go through the remainder of their lives broken in spirit by what they experience. Others tend to rally and move on with courage and even joy. That's resilience. So those who succeed in rising from the ashes of their experiences are those who in some way internalize the quote used at the beginning of this conversation. Rather than continuing to see their experiences as a burden to bear, they find the internal fortitude to climb the mountain, seemingly as if it is an assignment for them. We all know that during our lifetime we are going to have mountains to climb. That's inevitable. However, it's the choice we make in the face of adversity that will make the greatest impact on the outcome of our experiences, not only for ourselves, but for others as well. When we meet people who have treated adversity as a burden, we often find them broken and incapable of moving on in their lives. On the other hand, when we meet those who have taken on the events of their lives, shouldered them, and moved forward, we not only end up cheering them on, but we ourselves feel encouraged. It's like the difference between two families who experienced catastrophic California fires a few years ago. One family returned to the scene of their devastated home and picked among the debris. Anger, frustration, and an overwhelming sense of loss were their reactions. However, another family returned to a similar scene. They also had an overwhelming sense of loss. There's no way that you could not have that. However, as they stood together, the entire family, mother, father, children, and their dogs, the comment was, "I am so grateful that we all survived. We can start again together. We can start again." Now and in the days ahead, that has to become a mantra. Many of us will not face a natural disaster, but we don't know what we're going to face. As a matter of fact, we do experience small devastations every day. The increase in food prices, whether you're single and just feeding yourself, or have the monumental task of feeding a family. Food prices are a way of experiencing devastation, it is really a trauma, just as the California fires or any other natural disaster is a trauma. The epidemic of cancer in all its various forms at all ages, as well as other diseases that affect ourselves and loved ones. Wars, whether they're in our face or on the other side of the world. Rumors of wars, political and social instability around the world. All of these are small devastations, and you could call them traumas. We cannot survive these constant attacks on our well-being, our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being without support. And that support begins not outside of ourselves, it has to come from within ourselves. It's about what we are thinking and telling ourselves and then repeating to others. So we need to say to ourselves that despite the mountains before us, we can always start again. We may have already grown tired, weak, may even be sick, and to some extent given up about climbing these mountains that seem to be in front of us. We forget that we can approach from a different angle. We don't have to keep trying to do it the way we did it 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. We don't have to do it alone. We can ask for help from the right source. We can begin to see the mountains in front of us as an assignment to be accomplished in small increments, not all at once. And we can consider every increment accomplished to be a victory to be celebrated. This is so important because what we do as an individual affects everyone around us. When people see us pulling up from a devastating moment in our lives and doing so, yes, we're human, we're going to cry, we're going to moan, we're going to sometimes just want to shut down, but when people see us knowing what we've been through, step up, even a tiny step, to be stronger, to be positive, to be whole, to be happy in the face of whatever we've experienced, it becomes a victory for everyone. People see that and they receive that energy that you're putting forth, and they can take hold of it. It gives them hope. It gives them hope. It encourages them. They gain courage from you. So the truth of it is, millions of people are putting forth the same effort, experiencing the same mountain climbing struggle. However, the positive energy that we each put into that struggle will take us to the top, and others will hear about our successes and know they can succeed as well. So, as we said at the very beginning, you know, you have been assigned this mountain to show others it can be moved. And if you can't move it, you can either go over it or you can go around it. And the worst case scenario is that you may have to tunnel through it or underneath it, only to discover something amazing that no one else has ever seen before. More than just a thought. This is the Reconnect Factor, the podcast of the Power Play Reconnect experience. Thank you for listening.